the glue has had plenty of time to dry on the blanks, and you can see the Gorilla Glue tends to foam a little bit, but that's all right. We'll take that off with the barrel trimmer. I want to point out one thing before I get to trimming. Notice how far down I've got the barrel trimmer on the shaft. I do this for a reason. You'll remember we did not drill all the way through these blanks, only partially into the blank. So what I do is I move the barrel down the shaft a little bit so that when I trim my blank, I don't go in too deep and tear wood out at the end or try to force it all the way through the blank. So that's just a little precautionary measure. So I'm going to go ahead and get this put in the chuck, and we'll trim these. On this queen blank, you'll notice I had to drill kind of deep. The idea is I drill down until I get a nice flat surface with the tube, and the hole that I initially drilled in the blank was a little bit deeper, and when I inserted the tube it slid farther into the blank than normally I would like, but that's okay because I left plenty of extra at the end, so we'll be in good shape.
For turning our king and queen pin toppers, we'll be using a mandrel called the grabber. And what this mandrel does is, you'll notice down here at the end it's got this little piece of rubber. You slide this into your blank. We tighten it down at this end, and what it'll do is it will expand that piece of rubber, and it will grip the inside of this blank and hold it on the mandrel so that we can shape it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this tightened down, and I'm going to get it mounted in the lathe, and we'll get started turning.
A couple of things I want to point out with the grabber mandrel. Always use your tailstock. I've brought mine up with a live center, and that's going to help support the piece while I'm turning it. The other thing is, you'll notice here there's two different size bushings here. This is a standard 7mm bushing. This is what comes with the grabber mandrel. What I've done is removed one of them, and I've used a larger bushing from a comfort pin. I like to use a larger bushing because it gives me a little bit more thickness at the end of the cap. You don't have to, but I think it looks better. It's just a personal preference. You've probably noticed by now that the blank is a little bit crooked on the mandrel. That's because I didn't drill perfectly straight into the blank. I'd like to say that I meant to do that, but I didn't. It was an accident. It shouldn't matter because we're going to turn this end down. This will be the end that goes on the pin, the fatter end. This will be the thinner end, so we're going to need to turn the material away anyway. Just means it'll take a little bit longer truing it up. My blank's now trued up, and I'm ready to start shaping it. The first thing I like to do is kind of get a couple of reference points along the blank. I like to mark the bottom of the piece and just kind of eyeball it. That just kind of gives me an idea of the different areas. I'll be removing a lot of those as we go along and re-adding them. It's just basic reference for me to kind of get an idea of where I'm at and what I'm doing.